What's up, Falcon Nation? Voice of the Friends University Falcons, Pat Strathman, joined by head football coach at Friends University, Terry Harrison. Welcome into episode 6 here for the Friends University Coaches Show. We've been doing these last couple here at Chicken Max right here in Wichita. Let me tell you about Chicken Max. We're currently at the 325 Southwest Street location. That's west of Maple, in case you're wondering, here in Wichita. Chicken Max, locally owned and hatched right here in Wichita, known for their legendary sandwiches, taking the chicken sandwich to the max. Their smoked chicken is smoked in almond wood every day, several times a day, in each location, giving it a fresh, unique flavor. Savory sides like mac and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, potato salad, coleslaw, and more. Club salads and power bowls with their smoked chicken for a healthy choice. Several sauces unique to Chicken Max. 3 locations in Wichita. Come join us on Thursdays at 325 Southwest Street here in Wichita. Well, Coach, I feel like it's been 3 months since I've last seen you, but the last time I saw you, a victory over St. Mary, final score being 38-20, and we'll specifically dive into that, but I guess we should probably just dive right into bye week. I feel like coaches view it differently. Some coaches view that as a week to go out and recruit. Some coaches go, you know what, we still want to stay sharp. Maybe you're not going out there and really hammering each other hard every single day. However, some coaches like to do that, kind of stay in the mindset of continuing the grind. So your thoughts on bye week?
Yeah, I actually haven't had one in a while. Well, I take that back. I guess with COVID, it felt like there was all kinds of bye weeks, right? But having a bye week in the middle of the season is a little bit new to me. I've always played full slates, and our bye week was a little weird where I was at before. But we actually took a little unique approach. I hope at least we gave our kids we went really hard for 3 days, and gave them their normal days off, and they got a bonus day off with that Friday. So, we had a great practice today, and it's that midway point of the season, and what we challenged our kids with, moving forward in 23-24, every team in the conference is going to have a bye week with the way the new slate is, and we'll have 2 divisions. So for us, it's kind of a little bit of a practice ahead of what that's going to be like. You play your first 5 or 6 games, you get that bye week, and then you go to divisional play moving forward, and this is when you want to play your best football. So that's kind of the challenge we kind of put out to the kids and as a staff. And like you mentioned, we got to do a little bit of everything. We always recruit, but when you don't have that game to prepare for, it feels like maybe we can have some more deeper conversations with families, and then our kids got to get a little bit of a break from us yelling at them all the time. It's a much needed. What do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. So we gave our guys a little break, and some kids got to go home, which was really cool.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, right? It's always good to kind of have that, especially I think in your case, to be able to go out there and play 5 games and have a 2-3 record to show for it. But you go out there and play 5 games for an 11-game schedule, 10-game schedule, 11-game schedule, however people do it. But to sort of actually have that bye week middle of the season, that's got to be perfect, because it kind of allows you to hit the reset button just a little bit.
Yeah, I think for everybody, right? As coaches, you get to reevaluate that first half of the season. Hey, great. We did all the nerding out on the stats and the data, and hey, what are we doing well? What are we doing not so well? And it allows you to kind of play to your strengths a little bit, maybe reassess what you maybe you weren't quite as good at something as you thought you would be, or whatever that looks like, right? And I can tell you, our staff did an awesome job of that. To kind of look back at ourselves and see what we've done really well, and maybe what some things we could do at practice to help ourselves out. And and our staff did a really good job of that. And then for our players, again, it was taking a week off. It's a hard game, and we're playing, relatively young team and relatively inexperienced. You're playing grown men out there, in college football, and that week off and one weekend less of, banging around on people's good. And our kids look really fresh today at practice for sure.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Well, we'll talk about McPherson this upcoming week on the road, a McPherson team that I think a lot of people look at, and they look at the record, they go, oh, man, look at that record. Well, they're way better than what you think, and we'll dive into that later on. But last game against St. Mary, you get your first home victory at Adair Austin Stadium. You get your first conference win here as the head coach of the Friends University Falcons. And the way that it started, you're thinking, well, I don't know, because the last couple of games, it was a quick start. You guys were able to get a couple turnovers against Bethel. You get a turnover, then you're able to kick a field goal and get on the board. The following week, you go on the road to Hillsboro. You take on Tabor. Guess what? You get a pick. Get yourselves an opportunity to put points to the board. You get a field goal. And by the way, we'll talk to the kicker himself later on here on the show, Bobby Schmidt. So I've been looking forward to that for a little bit now. So really looking for that conversation later on here on the show. But you come out with quick starts in the previous 2 games. Then you take on St. Mary, and it's not like it was a bad start or a good start, but it was St. Mary that hit you with a long ball with Eric Covington. There was a route jump, and instead of getting an INT, it was a completion for 50-plus yards down the field for a touchdown to make it 6-0 St. Mary, and you're thinking, uh-oh. But the response, you score 28 straight, you get on the board quickly, and you lead 28-6 at half, and ultimately go on to win 38-20. So I guess your overall thoughts on a game that felt like about 12 decades ago.
Yeah, man, it is crazy how far away it seems, and then you just, as a coaching staff, and you always move on, right, and you're just worried about the next game. But, no, when you look back at that game and even the first stretch of the season we've talked about, when you look at the games we've lost, and we have been, we go toe-to-toe with a top 10 team in the country now in Bethel, and arguably could have won, that situation. And then the Tabor game as well, which got away from us late. But you look early on, where we really have struggled is that last 5 to 6 minutes of the first half, and then the opening 5 to 6 minutes of the second half, right? And so, fast starts, slow starts, that if you really break it down, that's where we've really, really, really struggled. And imploded is a fair word to say, right? Not by lack of desire or anything. It's just things have seemed to fall apart towards the end of a half and then the opening of a half, right? And so that's what we did the best against St. Mary. You talk about those 28 unanswered points. A lot of those came late, and we played some really good situational football there towards the end of the first half. We go back in at halftime, able to settle down, regroup, and had a good end of the first half, and say, hey, now come back and do that again. And it's a whole other situation, and that's how our goal here is much more than simply winning a conference game, right? We want to compete for championships, and we want to be relevant in the conference and the national level. Those are lessons you have to learn. And so the encouraging part is you can clearly see growth in our program and fixing some of the mistakes we've made, which means our kids are doing a great job of, answering the call, and our coaches are doing a good job of adjusting practice to make sure kids are set up to do that. So, yeah, that's but, as far as you talked about, man, awesome. Like you talked about going down earlier, and then it really felt like once we kind of got rolling, we knew, man, we got a shot we could really run away with this thing, and I thought our guys, did a really awesome job of that.
Well, when you guys gave up that touchdown, the following drive, 77 yards on 2 plays back-to-back. One was a run by Caden Rigsby, and then the next play was Jack Mullen throwing a pass to a wide-open Caden Lee, who just streaked down the field, and fortunately, he didn't make the end zone. I'm sure he badly wanted that touchdown there. I'm sure Jack Mullen wanted that touchdown too. But speaking of which, we'll talk to Jack later on here on the show as well. But down the field, he almost get a touchdown, but Jack ends up getting into the end zone on a 1-yard plunge. I felt like after giving up a big play, to respond by getting back-to-back big plays, that just felt huge. It felt like all of a sudden, all right, we're fine. You're not putting your heads down. It's back to work, and you hit on 2 big plays that ultimately felt really big at the time.
Yeah, I agree, man. And, it's timely plays, and it takes tough guys to do that. And I can tell you, there's no lack of toughness in our kids. There's no lack of mental toughness in our program. And obviously, the kids that have chosen to come here, the kids that have chosen to stay here, man, they have a strong desire to win and are highly competitive. Where we have fallen short of some execution things and some situational football, kind of like we've already kind of mentioned. And so, to win that situation and to come back and answer back and make a play when it matters, man, that just shows you the growth we've made, and couldn't be more proud of those kids. Caden got an opportunity, and he did a great job. And then obviously Jack, who's been in and out a little bit and played some and not played other games. But, man, it just shows you the type of kid he is. He's an awesome leader. He's a program guy who, when Andrew was playing, he's his biggest fan. But when he got the opportunity to play, he just this week did an awesome job. And, man, couldn't be more proud of him. And like talk about, man, overall the team, it was offensive lineman's best game we played. That's what it can feel like where, at some level, at some point, our St. Mary decided this is not very fun to play against, and you could see it's the first time we really imposed our will on somebody as an offensive line, and as the O-line coach, that makes you really proud.
Yeah, well, it was on that one touchdown by Zach Dressler, the entire right side just completely opened up, and when I was on the call, I was like, man, the entire right side of the offensive line, got to give him credit. And it's not like throughout the game, it's not like there was a good offensive line play throughout, because there obviously was, but certainly on that one specific play, that right side, when you see a B-back get into the second level without being touched, 10 to 15 yards downfield, that's a good feeling as a former offensive lineman myself.
Yep.
That is a fantastic feeling when you go, oh, hey, there goes my running back, and he's streaking down the field for a touchdown. Yeah, it's because I'm the one that blocked for that guy.
Yeah, well, and it's so disheartening for another team. It's like, the whole thing is stop the B-back. And whenever our guys block things up well and we do some things with schemes where that guy's just running untouched, it's very frustrating for opposing teams, But, you mentioned the right side. Noah Redcorn is playing right tackle. Steven Acosta is playing right guard, who are returning starters who played a lot of football. And, I've been very fortunate and very lucky to coach some All-American offensive linemen, very fortunate to have multiple first-team All-Conference kids, and those two are playing at as high a level as any offensive lineman I've ever coached. And so, no one wins in comparison, and that's in no way a comparison, but it does tell you those guys are playing at that level that we've seen in the past coaching offensive linemen. And so, that's our side that we really feel confident in. And, man, we know those guys, there's a high expectation, and they have a high desire to do really well. And what you mentioned there, just that play in particular was pretty telling of how far those guys have come and how comfortable they've gotten in what we're doing.
So all of a sudden, Waylon Chance is your big home run hitter?
Hey, man, that's what he does. It's like what do we say? I think we challenge kids like be undeniable, right? And I think the best way to put it about Waylon, he has been undeniable, and I think that's clear for everybody to see. And so very, very proud of him. Awesome kid. We've talked about him a ton, but, it's kind of one of those deals where he shows up every week, and he kind of makes a play every week that just it sounds funny to say it's unexpected. It shouldn't be unexpected. That's what he does. You know what I mean? But it was awesome. He's kind of been the guy that gets the team going, and he's the guy the kids feed off of, and he's an excellent teammate, and I think all the kids love him and respect him, and it's been really cool to watch him make plays like that, and it's just it's been awesome, and then get to see him with his parents. I know his parents are super proud of him as well, and he's been here a long time and had a rough stretch, and to see him have success is it's really cool.
Well, unfortunately, if Waylon does poorly from here on out, you can blame me. I'm the one who took a picture with him at the end of the game. It was requested, not necessarily by me, which is like, you want me in the picture?
Yeah,
okay,
that's all
sure,
right.
whatever, that's fine. But I appreciate that stuff. That stuff's a lot of fun. It's part of the whole culture at Friends University. It's something that we love, and we talk about it all the time. So that was a lot of fun after the game. You brought up Jack Mullen. I think there are multiple plays you can bring up with Jack. Certainly the reading the entire offense, that's always the number one thing. Taking care of the ball is another important thing. But at the end of the first half, you brought up how at the end of the first half, that's been the area where you guys have struggled. Well, you guys get a turnover, and we'll talk about the defense here shortly. You guys get a turnover, less than a minute left. Jack, I think, runs for a little bit, and then the next play, Jack throws just a beautiful ball, back left corner of the end zone to KG. Kevin Green able to get 1 foot inbounds. It was just an awesome play, something that you're probably not used to seeing, in the flex bone, that type of player, right? For some people. But it was just a beautiful throw and a beautiful catch. And Waylon also had a great catch as well. Down the near sideline that Jack threw to him as well. Defense was caught sleeping, and Jack hit him with a quick hitter, and that was pretty good as well. But the play in particular I want to focus on, Jack Mullen to KG. Your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, number one, fantastic catch by KG, and you talked about back of the end zone there, be able to get his foot down was big time, and we really needed it. And people don't understand. The last 3 years we've been top half of the conference in touchdown passes. We've been number one in the nation in pass efficiency, and so the way this really works is we have to be able to do that, right? And so some of the frustrations you would have seen the last couple of weeks were inability to complete passes, and man, that defense just shrinks in. You have to make them pay, and that's the trade-off with what we do, right? You make them pay in the run game, and then when they get overzealous, you throw it over the top, right? And so our ability to complete passes, specifically that one down there, it just changes the game and makes the defense fit a little looser, which is, it all plays off together. And, we want to make sure we're a team that always does that. And we have done it efficiently, the highest in the country for the last 3 years. So that was awesome. And then you talk about Jack. The other interception, we were trying to really kind of seal the deal and really kind of go for the jugular there. Great ball. It was just a way, it just bounced off a hand. The defender bobbled around, and that was the interception he threw. It was an awesome call on a first down by Coach Reed. It just, we just didn't hit it. But if you go back and watch the film, it's like that was an opportunity we had to, throw another bomb and score a touchdown. So, man, really proud of Jack. He stood in there and threw the ball really well and gave our kids a chance to make plays. And we've known we do have receivers who can do that. It's a matter of, let's get comfortable in our schemes and get comfortable with pass pro, and it is truly a group effort. It is not quarterback only. We've struggled in pass protect. It's always one thing, right? It's either a pass pro issue or a pass or a catch or something, right? And we finally got that kind of synced together, and we were able to make the St. Mary's pay.
Flipping over to the defensive side, the reason why you're able to get that touchdown at the very end of the first half was a forced fumble. Shamarius Davis was the one who forced it, and then you guys were able to cash in. St. Mary right off the bat, you get that 56-yard touchdown there for the Spires. You're thinking, all right, well, we've seen big plays given up here so far this season by the defense, but then instead of seeing more, you saw things tighten up and things get a whole whole heck of a lot better. So your thoughts on the defense from that game against St. Mary?
Yeah, they were doing awesome, and it felt more like the level of football we want to be at, where we're offense is getting more opportunities because we're forcing punts, forcing turnovers, right? And they did an awesome job of that. You go back and watch it. That St. Mary's just scored a lot of points. They had some really good players. That quarterback he was as fast as anybody on that field. And so for them to be able to limit those guys who's actually scored some points this year and done a really good job at times, it was kind of a scary matchup. But, man, for our defense to be as dominant as they were, especially in stretches being very dominant after that first we had a couple of missed tackles, which is the game. But, man, they did a fantastic job. Was really, really proud of them. And, man, I thought they really kind of, I don't like to use the term bend but don't break, but they did. They kind of found their rhythm, and they were able to get stops and get the ball back. And, it's just part of the game. When you watch any level from middle school to the NFL, getting stops, and the name of the game is just get off the field as a defense, get the ball back to your offense.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing right there, right? I think St. Mary, 2 of 14 on third downs. It wasn't much. So anytime you can have those type of numbers on third downs and the money downs, as we like to say,
right,
your defense is playing at a high level.
Yeah, and we did it better. We've been really poor. I mean, we've just not been good on third down, defensively or offensively. And so, man, it's game changing when you can force that team to, because it's so energizing when you convert a third down as well. It's hard to even measure how important that stat is. But we definitely got to feel the other side of it, of where you win those third down challenges both on offense and defense, and we're able to come out and play really well, and you can see how it pays off.
Well, this week it's a road trip going up to McPherson to take on the Bulldogs. And McPherson, people can probably just look at the record and go, oh, well, 1-3. Well, not that great. What's funny, I think it was College Football Reddit on Twitter or something like that. It came out of the blue, and they're talking about McPherson. I was like, look at them, like picking this up, because they're like, wow, it's been a rough start for McPherson. And yeah, it's true, because McPherson, some really close losses. A loss to Bethel, 14-13. They led in that game 13-0 at the half, and then Bethel would come back to win 14-13. Mm-hmm. Then you have a 1-point loss to Tabor, 17-16. They do get a win against Ottawa, 27-18, but you have a game against Southwestern, top 10 team in the country, and right there is McPherson fighting to the very, very end, ultimately falling 23-22. But they are 3 points, technically 6, I guess, because you can't exactly end the game of the tie. This isn't soccer after all. But you're 6 points away from being a perfect 4-0. That's how good this McPherson team is.
Yeah, well, it's certainly not a lack of talented players, and they are as talented as anybody, in our conference at some positions, and their running back is very good. I think, like the first or second play of the game against Southwestern, he just runs it straight right down the pipe for 70 or something yard run, and so we've seen him in the past, and he's very talented. The quarterback is just an athletic guy who throws the ball just well enough to put his guys in position to make play, but he's so mobile. They pose some pretty unique challenges, on the offensive side. And defensively, they've actually been one of the better defensive teams in the conference for the last several years. So, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to piece together wins. They've really, even at the conference level for the last multiple years, they haven't been on the winning side as often. But they are certainly talented. So it'll be interesting to see, are they able to come back from those tough losses?
Sure.
We've had some gut-wrenching losses, but they weren't even quite that close. And so,
right.
It'll be interesting to see how they come out. But it is certainly not a lack of talent. And, especially with that running back, man, he's a dangerous running back, maybe arguably as talented as anybody in the conference. So
sure.
If we do a good job with at least limiting him and then getting in some down distances where we can pressure those guys and have a chance to get the ball back for offense, we feel really good about that. And then, defensively, they're just big and tough guys. And, college football, bro.
That sounds about right.
Hey, put your big boy pants on. It's kind of feel like the same story every week, So, but I can tell you, we are getting better every day. And so that's what's really cool and really fun. We want to play teams like this that are, they've kind of been that second tier of the conference, right? They've been at the top of, if you want to tier the conference out in 3 tiers, they've been at the top of that second tier, almost making their way to the top tier. And that's kind of, for us to become relevant, that's where we've got to get, right? You've got to climb that ladder. And so for us, it'll be a great measuring stick of, where are we at in whatever tier we're in by the end of this season. And it's a great opportunity to start this second half of the season playing a really talented team and playing on the road. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, without question. All right, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to you this week.
Thank you.
As Terry Harrison, head football coach at Friends University, here on the Friends University Coaches Show. Friends is 2-3 after a win over St. Mary a couple of weeks ago, 38-20. Coming up next for Friends University, a road test against the McPherson Bulldogs, a team that is 1-3, but a team, as we talked about, very, very talented, a team that's had 3 losses by a combined 3 points. Kickoff early in the afternoon. How about that, Coach?
Hey, let's go. Hey, man,
that's a little different, too, isn't it? You got to get used to that, 1 o'clock?
Every game should be at 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? So
I'm surprised you're not pushing 9.
I'll go 11. Hey, I'll go 11 a.m. Let's go. Move it up.
11 a.m. is what Coach is saying. That's not the kickoff time for Saturday. It's at 1 o'clock up there in McPherson. Make this short trek up to McPherson, if you will, not very far away from Wichita. But if not, you can always watch the game from afar. All right, well, that does it here for the first part of the Friends University Coaches Show, but we still have more to get to when we come back. We'll be joined by 2 individuals. We'll be joined by quarterback Jack Mullen, and we'll be joined by the kicker, as he calls himself on Twitter, Bobby Schmidt. We'll get to those 2 guys after this. It's the Friends University Coaches Show here at Chicken Max. Welcome back to the Friends University Coaches Show. Voice of the Friends Falcons, Pat Strathman. Pleased to be joined by 2 football players from Friends University. Quarterback Jack Mullen here to my left. To my right, the kicker himself, Bobby Schmidt from Sapulpa, Oklahoma. Jack from Shawnee Mission South. And I'm sure we'll probably dive into that a little bit from where you guys are from. But glad to have you here, fellas. And here we are recapping a win over St. Mary, 38-20 being the final score. I guess we'll start with you, Jack, and then we'll transition to the field goal guy over here and the punter as well. We'll talk about his leg plenty here before too long. But, Jack, big win, 38-20. Here you are being thrusted into the starting role for the second time this season, technically third time this season. Started the season opener, and then it was Andrew Arnold. Andrew Arnold unavailable, so here you are back in the starting lineup. And, well, 38-21, not too bad. Your thoughts on the game against St. Mary?
Oh, it was a fun win, very fun game. It was just a fun game.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to go into the bye week, I thought, because it's kind of been, it felt like a long time ago.
Yeah,
so.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the same thing that Coach Terry Harrison said, too. He's like, I felt like it was about 5 decades ago, which is really true because when you do have that bye week and you play that game before the bye week, it does feel like it took forever. And you're probably thinking, you being the next play type of guy, I'm sure you're probably thinking, all right, on to the next one. You're probably not even really sitting back and really basking in the glory of what happened that game against St. Mary.
Yeah. We celebrated it Saturday.
Yeah, of
and
course.
We got back to work on Sunday.
Yeah.
Had a good week of practice, I thought, over the bye week, a chance to really focus on us, and then prepare for McPherson this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, your thoughts on the 38-20 win over St. Mary?
I think we played pretty well, but there's definitely stuff that we can improve on. Mm-hmm. And then we went out there, got the win, and celebrated it Saturday and went right back to work on Sunday.
Pretty simple stuff right there. 38-20. How did it feel to get another kick in there as well?
It felt pretty good.
I mean, it feels like you're just automatic now. I mean, come on. Every time I see you try it out there, I just know it's going to go through.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay. Fair enough. So here you are focusing on McPherson, but you did get a chance to have that bye week in there just a little bit. Did you have a chance to go home to Sapulpa, Oklahoma? Did you stay here in Wichita? Did you chill? What took place during the bye week for you?
I actually went down to Little Sahara out in western Oklahoma to hang out with my family and ride four-wheelers and stuff like that for that Saturday of the bye week.
Big four-wheeling guy over here, huh? Is that the yearly tradition? Go down and ride some four-wheelers? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you seem like a four-wheeler guy.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's kind of right up your alley. Jack, how about you? Did you go back to eastern Kansas, go back to Kansas City, hang out with some family and friends?
I did not. I actually stayed here in Wichita.
Okay.
I know a lot of guys went home, but there are also a lot that stayed, so we got to spend some time away from football together. That was good.
Sure, absolutely. Jack, here you are this season. I know the previous 2 years, not a lot of victories, all that stuff. But, you've been kind of waiting for your shot, and here you are this season getting that opportunity, and you're sharing stuff there with Andrew Arnold. What's that been like so far this season for you, getting that opportunity to kind of showcase your skills this season?
Oh, I've enjoyed it. I love this team. It's fun to play with them. Drew's awesome. He's a great guy to play quarterback with. We always try to support each other, and it's been a fun year so far.
Sure, absolutely. And Terry Harrison, Coach Harrison said that when you're out there, you're playing and all that stuff, but when you're not, you're the biggest cheerleader for Andrew Arnold there on the sideline. So your thoughts on that relationship?
I try to be. Yeah, Drew's awesome. He's helped me a lot. He as a freshman, he's showed a lot of courage to come in, and
absolutely.
And then, try to help him out when he's out there, and he does great with me when I'm out there. So
absolutely, Bobby, you're kind of like grandpa on this team, aren't you?
Yeah, I feel like it.
I was just thinking about that. Like we've talked to like Waylon Chance and a few others here in this program, but I can't help but think Bobby's probably the one that kind of feels like he's been around forever. At least I feel like you've been around forever.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on this season potentially being the final one here for you?
I think we've improved a lot over the years since I've been here, especially this year. We made a big leap, so I'm excited to see what the future holds for Friends.
Okay, fair enough. When Coach Harrison came in, what was your thought when Coach Harrison hopped on board when he was named the head coach at Friends University?
I was definitely excited, especially after talking to him. I had a pretty good feeling that this thing was be heading in the right direction pretty quickly.
Called you Bobby Kicks. Did he give you that nickname, or did you give that nickname to yourself?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay. So he gave that nickname to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay. Because on Twitter, you just go as the kicker, so I kind of expected you to kind of change things.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay, fair enough. Jack, your thoughts on Coach Harrison and the coaching staff coming on board?
Oh, it's definitely a change of culture when he came, so I think a lot of improvements, a lot of little things have changed, and I think we kind of carry ourselves in a different way that I can see being very successful soon, and in the future he's definitely building something awesome here.
Sure. Last game against St. Mary, what was your reaction like after throwing that pass to KG in the back of the left corner of the end zone?
I didn't know if he was in bounds, to be honest. I'm like, oh man.
You're like me on the call. I had to stop for a second and go.
Yeah. So I was just kind of waiting for the ref to either give the incomplete or touchdown, see what happened. But once he saw that I caught it, I was happy.
Well, that was certainly a good throw and a good catch. How about the long 57-yarder, the Caden lead to kind of get you guys started? Was that pretty sweet?
Yeah, that was good. I think that was the second drive of the game.
Yep, second one. Yep.
And it was great to see get some passes completed. We've struggled throwing the ball, and I felt like last week was definitely an improvement on that, so we can keep building off our passing game.
Okay. Bobby, I want to go back to you. You're here at Friends University. What made you become a Falcon? What made you say, you know what, this is the place I want to call home?
I would say off the bat on my visit here, one of my friends from high school was the long snapper up here that I was friends with growing up forever. So I came up here on a visit, and Wichita was a special place to me, and especially being in the city. A lot of other schools like McPherson and Kansas Wesleyan, for example, are in a lot smaller town, and I wanted to be in a bigger city.
Okay. You bring up the relationship with the long snapper. How important is the relationship with a long snapper for a guy like you who's punting the football?
I think it's very important, especially because if you have a good relationship with him, you won't have as short of a fuse if he were to make a mistake, and you'll be right there in his corner if he does mess up and push him to be better, and he'll understand where you're coming from more if you have that relationship.
Sure. How about the holder when you're kicking field goals?
I'd say it's the same for the most part. Like, if you have that relationship, then he'll know that you're pushing him to be better.
Okay. Are you laces out? Is that how it is?
Yeah.
Please tell me you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So if you don't know what I'm referencing here, Bobby, we got to talk. You and I, after this, we're going to go, and I have that DVD. I'll be like, here, watch this and tell me about Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. So laces out. Okay. Is that the way it has to be? Laces out?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay. Fair enough. What's it like when you don't have laces out? Does it hurt your foot?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit, and then there could also be a iffy with the direction, like where the ball's going after I kick it. That could interfere with that a little bit.
Okay. How does it feel? Have you ever kicked a field goal barefoot just because?
Yeah, I have maybe a handful of times.
How crazy is that?
I've never done that.
I feel like I would break a foot. Like I would break my foot if I tried to do that.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, good to know. Fantastic. What's the secret to being a good field goal kicker?
I'd say flexibility and then just having that explosiveness in your leg and developing that in the weight room over the years, as well as I grew up playing soccer, so that played a huge part of it.
Grew up playing soccer, so by the time you came of age to play football, you're like, you know what, kicking's for me.
Yeah.
Do you watch other guys kick in the National Football League and try to emulate what they do?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you have one in particular that you watch?
I'd say probably Justin Tucker. And then I used to –
That's a classic. Okay,
yeah.
Good.
And then I'll watch videos of Nick Novak. He used to play for the Chargers, especially after I trained with him this past summer in San Diego.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that experience?
Oh, it was awesome.
What'd you take away from that experience?
That you can do anything if you set your mind to it and work at it for the most part.
Okay. Onside kick-wise, is there a certain technique that you use, that you have to use in order to try to get that extra bounce to go in favor of your team?
I'd say just hitting it on the top of the ball, but not too high on the ball.
Okay. He's got the science down, man. Like you can tell he's got it down. What's the longest field goal you ever made in your football career? High school and college.
I
didn't know if you maybe had like a crazy 65-yarder for the win, down in Sapulpa. So
yeah, I've hit one from 57 before, but in practice I hit one from 74. I think in my old school was my long.
74?
Yeah.
How? Did you have wind?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. 74, my goodness gracious. I feel like that's been one of the coolest things about really the NFL is really the development of kickers and just how much more explosive they are. Like now you have guys going for 65-yarders and it's no big deal. They're hitting 65-yard field goals in practice.
Yeah.
Just incredible. I can't believe it. Just incredible. All right, Jack, for you, here you are coming over from Shawnee Mission South. So you made the decision to come out here to Friends University. Was it to stay in the state of Kansas? Was that the big driving factor, the being here in Wichita at Friends University?
Yeah, Wichita's cool. Like Bobby mentioned, a lot of other teams in this league don't have the ability, aren't in the city.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's close to home, but it's also kind of far enough away where I'm kind of out on my own a little bit too. So yeah, I just thought it was a cool place. Great university. Teachers, professors there are awesome.
Did you run Flexbone at Shawnee Mission South?
I did not. We were a gun option team, so I was in the shotgun, but we ran a lot of option stuff.
Okay, so how big of a difference has that been for you? I think I always find that to be really interesting. I can't wait to talk to Andrew. Maybe he's a little bit more equipped to it being a freshman. Maybe Antlers ran that down in Oklahoma. I don't know. But for guys that are so used to running an offense in a certain way to all of a sudden be given a different playbook, it's like, well, hold on a second. I don't know if I can handle this or not. So what has that been like trying to master a new offense like the Flexbone?
I'd say the spring was really big.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Reed did a great job of being very detailed about what he's looking for. And then, yeah, I thought the spring kind of handled any of the changes, that the difficulty from changing offenses going from the shotgun to a Flexbone. But, yeah, I'd say I like it.
Yeah,
It's
for
fun.
a guy who's an option quarterback, though, I guess it doesn't matter, right? Does it feel just natural? It's like, all right, well, I'm going to run the ball. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely feels more natural as you keep doing it. Yeah, I thought the spring football was great for us, for everybody making the transition, because there's a lot of guys transitioning from, B-back having their hand down in a three-point stance, or maybe a receiver coming into that A-back spot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, transition for a lot of guys, but I think our team's done a good job with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, about the Flexbone, I know nowadays in football you have RPOs, run-pass options, and you have all these different options out there on the field. It's kind of like that, I guess, for you guys, but you guys have you have the football in your hands like the entire time, like trying to figure out where you're going to go. And like you're putting it in someone's belly, and then you have to make the decision to whether or not pull it back and so on and so forth. Is that not strange, like doing all that type of stuff, or is that just, whatever, no big deal?
Oh, we rep it a ton. Yeah. Hopefully it starts to become kind of muscle memory. So.
Well, that first game against Panhandle, the one thing I noted right off the bat was there were no botched snaps, like by you under center. How important is that, especially in the Flexbone? Yeah, it's important for a quarterback to handle the rock. We understand that. But I feel like in the flex bone, there are so many chances where when you go from center to quarterback and you're right next to each other and you got to go right away to the B-back, then you have to make the decision on whether or not you're going to pitch and so on and so forth. So taking care of the ball is crucial, but it starts between center and quarterback. So how important is it to make sure that relationship is solid?
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, a drop snap's very annoying. Even when it happens at practice, it's annoying. And, yeah, there's definitely just takes time. I mean, I've dropped a lot in practices, especially when I first went underneath center.
And there's the truth, yeah.
Yeah, but our centers have done a great job, too, because it's not an easy job for them because they got a big old guy in front of them they got to block
Right.
as soon as they get the ball back there and put it in a good spot. But, yeah, our centers have done great at that.
Yeah, well, what's it been like working with that offensive line unit?
Oh, I like working with them. They got some good personalities, I think.
They're offensive linemen. Of course they have good personalities.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All linemen are the best, no offense.
Yeah.
Offensive line, they always have great personalities.
Oh, yes, for sure.
They're just terrific.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Does anyone, make you laugh from the offensive line unit? Does
Oh,
anyone,
yeah.
crack you up? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Do all of them? Is there anyone in particular who might be known as kind of the class clown, if you will,
The class
jokester?
clown. I've seen a few of them wear jorts, jean shorts out to practice, and that, there's only a few of them, but it's kind of funny when they get down in their stands. There's a couple guys in the just regular shorts, and then a few jean shorts. I'm just like, oh man, that's funny.
Not your style?
No, I haven't wear out the jean shorts. It's an O-line thing. I don't think they'd allow it.
I don't know, Bobby. You look like a guy who would rock a mean pair of jorts.
I don't know. I don't know if I could bend my leg up that high to kick in practice. With that I'm ripping.
Well, it's too tight on the thighs, right? There's no way on the quads and everything. There's no way that would work then.
Yeah.
Golly, jorts. Offensive lineman, though, come on now. It's the greatest. I'm just saying, you got to have personality. And if you have a personality, you're probably going to be an offensive lineman, just the way it is. Of course, you got to be big, but, offensive linemen, they're always fun. I'm glad that that's the same thing with this unit. Can't wait to talk to some of them down the line. All right, Jack, we're talking. I feel like this is always a sticking point here on the show. NFL, who your team is, Kansas City Chiefs, obviously.
Correct.
By far and away, all right? And talking to Bobby Kicks over here, Philadelphia Eagles guy.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Why? You're in Oklahoma.
I'd say because my mom grew up by there, so growing up, that was
Okay.
a team that I always really watched.
Okay, so grew up around Philadelphia? That's where she grew up from?
Yeah, she grew up in New Jersey.
Did she ever take you to get a Philly, a true Philly cheesesteak?
No, not yet.
Oh,
She
man.
needs to.
Well, what do you think about your 4-0 Eagles?
I'm pretty impressed by them. I think they got a lot they can improve on to keep winning, but so far so good.
Okay. So we talked about you and who you try to emulate when it comes to punting. I guess I have to ask this. Pat McAfee, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Say if you said nay, then the show's over. I mean, show's about to be over anyways. But Bobby Schmidt forever, he's just banned from the coaches show from here on out. You being a quarterback, we haven't asked you yet about quarterbacks and who you try to emulate. Who do you try to look at, try to emulate?
Who do I try to emulate? Throwing the ball, Tom Brady.
Okay.
I think, yeah. But my favorite guy to watch play is obviously Mahomes.
Sure, absolutely. But Tom Brady, just the cerebral.
Yeah, just
type
how
of
long he's
attitude.
done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, led all his teams to winning a ton of games.
Could you imagine being a quarterback until you're 45? Could you imagine that? I feel bad. I'm 32 years old. I feel bad just waking up in the morning. I got an ache on my right knee, left knee, wherever it might be. I wake up with rain and pain, and here's Tom Brady just going, you know what, I can still play.
Yeah.
It's just incredible what he's able to do. So Tom Brady's your guy.
Yeah, I liked watching Drew Brees too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's great because he's a shorter guy and he's always found ways to complete the ball and just his working ability, I think.
Okay, good. Chiefs going to get the win on Monday Night Football against
Yeah.
the Raiders?
Yeah.
What's the score prediction?
Oh.
Chiefs guy over here.
I'll go 35-27 Chiefs.
35-27. So that's actually a little bit closer than I thought it would be. I thought you were going to say they're going to smoke them by 20 points.
Oh, no, it's the NFL. Everybody's close.
Okay, that's good. Fair enough. Who the Eagles got this week?
The Cardinals.
What do you think? Are they on the road? They're in Arizona, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they're on the road.
Yeah, I think so.
Score prediction: Eagles, Cardinals.
I'm going to say 28-31 Eagles.
Oh, okay. So you got the Eagles winning by 3. Gee, does that not sound like a kicker answer?
Yeah.
Someone
Isn't
winning
it a
by 3
game-winning field
points.
goal?
Yeah.
Kickers, man. Now I know every score prediction you're going to make. Oh, yeah, they're going to win by 3. That's going to be the number one choice for Bobby Schmidt. Bobby Kicks, as I like to call him. All right, fellas, well, thank you so much for your time here today. Best of luck to you this week against McPherson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is Bobby Schmidt from Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and Jack Mullen, a former Raider of Shawnee Mission South, here on the Friends University Coaches Show from Chickamauga. We do this thing every single Thursday at 5:30. You can come on out and check us out at 325 Southwest Street. It's west in Maple. That's the location we're at here today and every single week. But there are 3 locations in Wichita. Chickamauga's locally owned and hatched right here in Wichita, known for their legendary sandwiches, taking the chicken sandwich to the max. Their smoked chicken is smoked in almond wood every day, several times a day in each location, giving it a fresh, unique flavor. Savory sides like mac and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, potato salad, coleslaw, and much more. Club salads and power bowls with their smoked chicken for a healthy choice. Several sauces unique to Chickamauga. Come on by next week and say hi, as we'll be doing another show next week as we'll preview another game for Friends University football. But we are out of time for today. Friends University 2-3 on the season after a win over St. Mary, 38-20. Last week was the bye week, and now it's a road test up in McPherson as the Falcons take on the McPherson Bulldogs. Kickoff at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day. We'll see you again next week here on the Friends University Coaches Show. Talons up.